Ladies and gentlemen, to be here today is a pleasure indeed, and a source of hope. Thank you for a good occasion, President Constantinescu, to talk about the fundamental role of education and diplomacy in my country and in this part of the world, on the occasion of the Cultural Diplomacy in Higher Education Conference, hosted so generously by the University of Bucharest and the Romanian Foundation for Democracy. A mixture of Western roots, Latin and Eastern faith, Orthodox, makes Romania a rich and diverse culture. And despite the overwhelming majority of Romanian ethnics, 89.5%, Romania has always been a model of spiritual confluence. In the historic provinces of Banat, Basarabia, and Dobrogea, it is common to come across local communities composed by up to 14 different minorities in one single village. Not only this aspect diversifies and strengthens the fabric of Romanian culture and traditions, but it also represents a solid bridge towards the world. There was in the 20th century an exodus of Romanian cultural values to Europe. After remarkable Romanian intellectuals of the end of the 19th century received the blessing of German or French universities' education, a new generation flourished in Paris or Berlin, in Rome, Stockholm, or Brussels at the beginning of the 20th century. A great deal of them became famous in the United States of America and Canada. There is no European science or art in the 20th century that doesn't honor a Romanian trailblazer. Mircea Eliade and Emil Cioran created names for themselves in philosophy, religion, and literature. Constantin Brâncuș became an iconic sculptor of the century. Hariclea Darclé, Maria Cebotari, and George Enescu, then Dinu Lipati, Ionel Perlea, and Sergiu Celibidache were eminent composers and musicians, followed later by Nicolae Herlea, Ileana Cotrubas, and Angela Gheorghiu, celebrated opera singers of our times. Aurel Vlaicu, Traian Vuia, Henri Coandă are considered today pioneers of aviation. George Emil Palade received the Nobel Prize in Medicine, followed nowadays by Professor Stefan Hell in chemistry. The actress Elvira Popescu became a symbol of Parisian culture and an iconic figure of France. The playwright Eugen Ionescu needs little introduction, as he remains one of the greatest playwrights of the century. But one should not limit the list of Romanian contribution to the cultural diplomacy of the old continent in the 20th century only to Romanians who decided to live in Europe. Romanians who chose to stay in the country, even under successive dictatorships, have had a constant and substantial involvement in the spiritual life of Europe, in all areas, ranging from physics, Ștefan Procopiu, to philosophy, literature, chemistry, history, and arts. Those within Romania completed the panoply of Romanian personalities in Europe in the 20th century. Nicolae Titulescu, the diplomat. Nicolae Iorga, the historian. Grete Popa, the physicist, and many more. All these eminent artists and scientists were ambassadors of their country and of their profession in the world. Nowadays, an extraordinary number of people leave Eastern Europe in search of a better paid job abroad or better education in Western universities. Most of these people are young. This brings the benefit of an immediate better standard of life to their families at home. The children have a better education and better holidays, while they, the adults, enrich their own cultural horizon and mentality. Into the hosting societies, they bring brand new energy, enthusiasm, flexibility, and strong motivation. This could be called a modern age way of diplomacy throughout education and culture. A fundamental topic of today's Europe is the cultural dialogue. I can testimony that the gap between Eastern and Western Europe's culture and traditions is still considerable. Supranational institutions, shared values, and the acquis communautaire are fundamental, but they cannot solve alone the unity in diversity. Intelligence does not replace wisdom. Information does not mean knowledge. Mass media cannot replace the dictionaries. Democracy and freedom do not bring automatically sense of responsibility, generosity, loyalty, and the power of personal example. It is surprising to see how we sometimes coexist instead of living together. This is why having 55,000 Romanian young men and women studying in universities abroad brings a lot to our societies. This is a good example of performing cultural diplomacy through higher education. Those who decide to live or learn abroad will always be a step ahead the others in the intercultural dialogue. They will cultivate living together values and will be a bridge between Western and Eastern Europe, between Europe and the world. They will also be a precious source of energy, a good example of adaptability and an added value to the hosting societies. Ultimately, they will be the best ambassadors of their own culture, tradition, and society. Thank you.